Hello there. Good evening, everybody. Greetings and welcome here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I host this channel. It's a hot day, as you can probably tell by the shininess of my lovely face. And we're here today to look back at a classic rock album, which we are going to do this album by Supertramp, Indelibly Stamped. Look at that. I almost got it. Doesn't happen very often. Anyways, going to be a little bit late. Came in late tonight, but I still wanted to get it in. I did do the video this afternoon when I had the chance during my lunch break, but I don't get opportunity to do the two of them. I only had the time for one. So today we're doing the Supertramp Indelibly Stamped. We will try not to show too much of this album. Anyways, we have... This album was released June the 25th, 1971. Olympic Studios, London was where it was recorded. It's about 40 minutes in length, so it's almost dead center of my wheelhouse where I like my albums to be. 40 minutes is like perfect for me. On the A&M record label and produced by Supertramp themselves. So the band now has changed quite a bit from their first album. We only have really... a couple of people kind of running it now. Palmer's gone. So you got Ricky Davis on acoustic and electric piano, Hammond organ, lead vocals, and harmonica. Roger Hodgson on acoustic and electric guitars, bass, and lead vocals on 3 tracks, as well as backing vocals. Dave Winthrop on flute, saxophones, and he does do lead vocals on 1 track. This is probably the most bitey track on the album too. Frank Farrell on bass, piano, accordion, and backing vocals, and Kevin Curry on drums and percussion. So there are a total of, let me see here, I think 10 tracks in all on the album. The guys on the back too, in case you want to see them, looking typically the way people looked back in the early 70s. Yeah, this album is quite different from their first album. Their first album to me is kind of got a little bit of that Trespass feel to it from Genesis. And I like it quite a bit. It's one of my favorite of their albums. This album is very different. So they've taken a completely different direction here. This is more, well, I guess it's more poppy for sure. It's also got a little bit more of that bluesy feel, a little bit more of the jazzy feel that you're going to hear going forward a little bit more. It also has, again, 3 vocalists. The album is pretty good. The production on it's pretty, I think, superior for that time period. There's a little bit of piano here. I don't think it's over dominating like it usually will be in their albums going forth. There is some guitar here. There's no real hard rock and stuff here. There's one song that's a little bit more bitey than the others. And it does have some prog elements to it, but I wouldn't say that's dominating. In fact, I'm not really sure what the dominating sound is here. I guess a bit of a pop feel to it overall, but some catchy tunes nevertheless. So anyways, the first track on the album, Your Papa Don't Mind. This is a pretty interesting track. It kind of reminds me of something, but I couldn't, when I was listening to it, I felt like I knew the track from somewhere else, but I wasn't sure where that was. I still don't really know. It's an up-tempo, kind of a funky feel to it in some ways. It does pick up, it's Ricky on vocals, and it does pick up a little bit as it goes along, a little bit of a catchy beat. I did like this song. It's not a long one either. It's only 3 minutes. The next track out is called Traveled. A little bit longer, almost 4.5 minutes, sorry. Somewhat subdued. Nice opening. And you get a little bit of that flute sound here. The vocals are done by Roger Hodgson. A ballad-like track, in my opinion. Jumps up to a more up-tempo track as it goes along. It's got a nice catchy poppy feel to it. Some piano and some sax towards the end to kind of balance it out, I guess. Not a bad track, though. Next track out is just a little bit over 3 minutes. Rosie and Everything Planned. Rosie Had Everything Planned. This is probably my favorite track on the album. A nice acoustic guitar part at the beginning. Vocals by Roger Hodgson, very clear sounding. A kind of a it's kind of a bit of a folky tune in my estimation. It feels a little folky, even though I don't think it really is a folky tune, but it does have some of that inflections in it. It's a catchy sing-along like track. You can sing along to feel like you want to sing to it. It's got some low-end piano on the ending part, but a really good track. I think it's, up till this point on the album, the best track. Remember's the next track out. This one's a little over 4 minutes. And a little bit of a bouncy nature to it, a little bit up-tempo, bouncy nature. The vocals by Ricky Davis. It's got a catchy riff with some multiple sounds throughout the track. Lots of sax and that twin harmony vocal sounds that I think they kind of become more known for as they go forward in their next few albums. Next up is Forever. This one's almost 5 minutes. In fact, I think probably it's the second longest track on the album. Just slightly under 5 minutes. You could actually say it's 5 minutes. Organ sound to open. And nice Ricky vocal part here as well. Kind of a bluesy song with some subdued parts to the track. There is some sax here towards the end and a piano bit, which kind of dominates at the end of the song as well. A pretty decent song. I wouldn't say it's a terribly memorable song, but it's not bad. Next song up is a shorty. It's only about almost 2.5 minutes in length, called Potter. Kind of a catchy guitar riff here. Heavier, bitier track. It's got a little bit more muscle going in there. A little bit more savvy, I guess. Some picky guitar-like, very forward, heavy riff. This vocals are by Dave Wintrop. This is the only one he does on the album. Yeah, it's heavier, bitier, vocally sound. A much more aggressive track than any of the other tracks on the album. I actually like it. It's too bad that he left the band. I think he would have contributed some pretty solid vocals to it. I did like his voice. I don't really know why he left the band, because I didn't follow that aspect of it. But yeah, pretty solid song. Next up is Coming Home to See You. This one's just under 5 minutes in length. Another song is not terribly memorable, but it's not bad. Vocals are done by Ricky with some piano accompanying it. Almost a vaudeville-like track. I wouldn't say it's full-on vaudeville, but it gives me that impression that it could be. It jumps up and becomes more of a poppy-like track, and then it's a bit fast-paced. A little bit of the lyrics are a little quirky on this song too. I think it was intentional. Not really sure. It's got some fast-paced acoustic stuff, and it does jump up in noises and sounds as it goes along, and there's a little bit of harmonica in there as well. So an interesting track, but I wouldn't say it's not memorable. I think it's a pretty memorable song. I don't, for some reason, I found it a little bit disjointed and not as easy to follow where they were going with this track. I guess there was too many changes in the sound from the beginning to the end. Next up is The Times Have Changed. This one's just under 4 minutes. Another song, not that terribly memorable. Another clear vocal song by Ricky. Piano dominated, up-tempo. Not a bad track. Not a terrible track, but just not terribly memorable either. Next up is the shortest track on the album. I think it's just over 2 minutes. Actually, it might be the second shortest. I think the opening track might be a little shorter. Friend in Need is the name of the song. A nice piano opening, another Ricky vocal song. Satire-like track, a little bit bluesy, catchy rhythm sounds. Lots of piano and harmony vocals throughout the track. I did kind of like this track. They went through this period for the couple songs where they're kind of not too memorable, and then they started getting better towards the end. And they end off with this last song called Aries, which is the longest track, just over 7.5 minutes in length. Nice acoustic guitar part with some flute, and there's a little bit of that voice narrative going on as well. I would say this is a bit subdued at the beginning. The vocals are by Roger on this one. A bit of a proggy feel to this track. This is the one track on the album where you begin to think prog here. Another up-tempo keyboard sound, a little bit of a jazzy feel to it, more noticeable jazzy feel than some of the other tracks that have a little bit of that in it. This one's more predominant. And it's got some nice percussion and what I would call background sounds throughout the track, especially a little bit more noticeable in the second half of the track. But a pretty strong track. I think it's one of the better tracks on the album. I think overall I would have probably given this album like maybe a 6.5, 7 out of 10. And it's still fairly new to me. It's been on my playlist for a while, but it's not reached the 5-month mark, which is kind of I think the watershed of whether an album is going to be a 1, a 2, or a masterpiece. And the ones that don't get past the 5, you seldom make it as greater than a 2 or maybe a 3. This one will definitely go into the 1 category, which would make it the first 6 albums by Supertramp would all be at minimum 1s. And I think that is really indicative of a great run of music. They were one of the few bands that doesn't really have any really terrible albums, but there's a few albums I still have to go through. But this one, I think, comes across as a pretty strong album, but quite different from their opening album, which I love. So anyways, that's tonight's album, Supertramp's Indelibly Stamped, their second studio album from back in 1971. So please hit the like and subscribe, and we will be back next week with another episode of look back at a classic rock album. If you want to make any comments, you can do that, of course, in the comment section below about the album or about anything I've said. So take care, have yourself a good one, and goodbye here from the Prog Monster.